Hello and welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses. Let me change this light. This way it's too bright. That's better. Or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. So today's topic is how to flip houses in New York. So a couple things. First of all, I'm going to talk about why it's so different in New York. Then I'm going to talk about the steps you need to take to start flipping or wholesaling houses in New York. And then at the end, I'm going to give you some tools that can help you. So first of all, let's talk about why it's different. Now, I could literally talk for hours, and I've done a bunch of videos on why it's different in New York, but I'll give the top 2 reasons why it's more difficult and the top 2 reasons why it's better in New York, why I choose to do it in New York. So first, why it's better. So number 1 is you make more money in New York than a lot of places, right? I average about $30,000 on my wholesale deals. That's gone up a lot recently. I'm probably averaging twice that because I'm doing a lot of joint venture deals with people who have brought me deals, and I think we're each averaging 30, so I might be averaging 60 recently, which is amazingly great. So you do better, you make more money. All right, let's talk about why it's more difficult. The main reasons why it's more difficult are that you cannot go to contract with a seller. In 49 states, a real estate transaction happens between a buyer and a seller. A buyer wants to buy a house, he meets a seller, he says, hey, I'll pay you $100,000 for the house. Seller says, it sounds great. You write up a contract and you're in contract. In New York, the only state, the whole transaction takes place between the seller's attorney and the buyer's attorney. That means that even when a seller says yes, he then has to go get an attorney, and if you need to recommend when you can, that seller's attorney draws up the contract and sends it to yours. And sellers can kill deals. That is a delay, and that's really the second problem, is that the process takes a lot longer. And it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy, but attorneys get paid a couple of $1,000s to do a closing, and they want to make it work, and they therefore end up in negotiations with the other side. It takes a while. They want to earn their money, and the general thinking in New York for most people is that this is going to take a while. They don't look at their real estate as a very liquid asset as they do in other places. In most states, you can close something in less than a week, but in New York, a quick wholesale deal for me is like 2 months. It takes a while. So that's hard. Those are 2 harder things. But better things, I told you already, you make more money, which is great. The second great thing about New York is that there's much less competition here. And it's really for the reasons I just described, because there's so much information on the internet about how to flip houses. And I would say every single person out there, and there are a lot of great people. Some of my, Max Maxwell's awesome. Brent Daniels, there's so many people, Tom Kroll. I don't even want to start naming them because there's so many good people who are sharing and helping and really want to teach you. But these guys do not do business in New York. And I'm part of a national mastermind. I'm actually going in a couple of days to Dallas. And when I tell people how it works in New York, they are in shock. They can't believe it. And because it's so different, and because people are on the internet trying to learn how to do this and getting information from anybody else out there except me, because I think, as crazy as it sounds, even as I say these words, it's crazy, and I think I'm the only person teaching how to do this in New York. People get that information, they try it, and it doesn't work in New York, right? And there's so many different, so because of that, there's a lot less competition. So I work in Long Island. There's close to 3 million people on Long Island, and I don't think there's more than 4 to 5 guys who are systematically marketing direct to sellers to flip or wholesale houses, which is ridiculous, right? Because I know a dozen guys in Oklahoma doing it. The whole state of Oklahoma has like 1 million people. There's only 2 cities in Oklahoma City and Tulsa, only 2 decent cities. I know a bunch of people doing it in Birmingham, Alabama. There's 200,000 people in Birmingham, Alabama. So much less competition in New York. I would say more than half, maybe 60, maybe even more, maybe 2/3 of the time. When I make an offer to a seller, I'm the only person making an offer to that seller. And that obviously gives me a tremendous advantage. If you want to, I talk to people in, the hotspots like Phoenix, Dallas. There's a dozen investors giving anybody on any list an offer. So there's a lot more competition in other places. But in New York, much less competition. So those are the 2 best reasons why I operate in New York. So how do you go about it, right? How do you really flip houses? What is the process? So similar to other states, you want to start with a list of potential sellers, right? People that are likely to sell. And that could be for a bunch of reasons. And it's much harder to get niche lists in New York. So it's very easy in other places to get tax delinquent lists, code violation lists, water shutoff lists. It's very hard to get those in New York. But we can get broader lists in New York. So we get a list of, let's say, older people that have lived in the house a long time, people that don't live in the house, so absentee owned, vacant houses. Those are lists you can get. Those people are more likely to sell for obvious reasons. People that are in economic distress, you can get a list. And those are people are more likely to sell. And then you have to reach out to them. So there's a few ways to reach out to them. My lists, I hit them 4 ways. I mail them every month. I call them. I have cold callers who call them. I text them through a texting service. And I also RVM them. I drop a ringless voicemail in their mailbox. So I hit them as many ways as possible. And that's so mail is very expensive of all those ways. The cheapest is cold calling or texting maybe from your phone with a Google Voice number. So that's really the steps. You get a list, right? And so let's even go further. Where do you get a list from? So there's really 2 places I'd recommend getting lists from. One is Listability, very good data. You can get a list, and also I would not start with a list of less than 8,000 or 9,000. I'd work around 10,000. And really, I skipped a step. I'm sorry. You really want to pick where you want to operate first. You got to pick an area. So people say, where should I go? So you should lean towards lower priced areas and lean towards areas that you know, right? If you only know higher priced areas, you can work there too. But lower priced areas are going to give you a better shot at finding a seller who's going to sell it to you at a discount. So you pick an area and then you go either to Listability, or the second way is to go to PropStream. PropStream is an amazing tool. It's $97 a month. If you use my link, you get a discount. Also Listability, there's a link below if you want. You get my pricing. And those are 2 places to get lists. With PropStream, the advantage of PropStream is it also gives you a way to comp out properties. If you're not licensed and you're not a realtor and you don't have access to the MLS, then you might want to use PropStream just to get an idea of what values are. You're going to need a tool to use that. Believe me, Trulia and Zillow are not reliable. PropStream's a lot better. Not as good as multiple listing service, but it's close. So PropStream is a good idea. It's $97 a month, and I think I give you 10% back if you use my link. And then you can download up to 10,000 a month from PropStream, right? Listability, I think it'll be around $500 for a list, depending on what criteria you use. But that list can last you 6 months. Even PropStream, I recommend you using the list for 4 to 6 months. And then you just reach out, right? And you reach out and you basically are saying to them, hi, I'm looking to buy properties. Are you interested in selling? And most people are going to say, go to hell, take me off your list. Some people are going to say, yeah, maybe I'm going to sell. And then you have to go through a process to qualify them and see if they really are going to sell to you at a discount or not. Now, personally, I'm also a real estate broker, and I take listings too, right? And I have a full-time disposition manager who handles the listings for me. But for me, I know that I go on enough appointments that I meet people who just want to list. If you are not licensed and you don't want to list, then you might want to qualify more when you talk to them, right? Because if they're not really motivated, they're just thinking about selling and they want full price and they know what the value is, they're never going to sell it to you at a discount. And if you don't want to take the listing, that may not be a lead for you. I define a lead as anyone who has a house in an area I want to buy and who wants to sell. That's a pretty broad definition. For some people, they don't define a lead as anyone who doesn't want to sell at 30% of Zillow value or something, 70% of Zillow value or something like that. For me, I'll take the listing. So if someone says, hey, I want full value, my cold caller or my leads manager will say to them, do you have somebody to list it with, right? If they say it's in really good condition and they don't really have any motivation, do you have somebody to list it with? If they say yes, I'm probably not going to go on the appointment. If they say no, I might go on the appointment just to get the listing. But those are really steps. You pick an area, get a list, either through PropStream or Listability. Those are the easiest places to get lists and the least expensive. And then you reach out to the list and you call them or text them. Those are the cheapest ways. You can mail them, but mail is expensive, right? I'm a postcard guy. Postcards are still 40 cents. So if you have a list of 10,000, every time you mail it, it's $4,000. And I would highly recommend you do not send any mail unless you're going to mail it 6 or 7 times. So that's $24,000 if you're going to mail it 6 times. Most people are not going to invest that in the beginning. So you reach out to them and you say, do you want to sell? And if they say yes, they want to sell, then you qualify them and see if this is something worth meeting with them. I go on live appointments. Some people do this virtually. For me, I find in New York, there's a different mentality. I want to meet people face to face if I can. And I feel like that is the best way for me to buy. Some people don't, and that works fine for them. Now, the tools that can help you. So there's 2 things. Now, I know this is a shameless plug for the things that I sell, but I sell a course. The link is below. It's howtoflipnewyork.com/course. And it's around $800 or $900. It's got a tremendous amount of information, and it really will help you if you don't know where to start. If you buy the course, you do get some access to me. I'm going to take your phone calls. The second thing I offer is coaching. So that's coaching.howtoflipnewyork.com. And there, you're going to pay me, and it's a ridiculously cheap price. If you'll see it, go to that site and you'll see how much it is. But then I'm really invested in your success, right? And you'll see some coaching students that have done really well there too. So those are the tools. Also, if you need a script to say to people, shoot me an email. My email is below. I'll be happy to send you back a script. The script that I use, for the outbound script that I use when my cold callers call people, which really is a qualifying script. I think, honest to God, I could charge a lot of money for that script. It's a great script. I've been tweaking it over the years. It's a great script. The basic premise of Brent Daniels TTP plus the great Josh Hines from Baltimore have really helped me make that script better. And it condenses it into a short period of time, because if you're calling or you have a cold caller calling, you want to spend as little time on people that are never going to sell you a house as possible. You want to get information from them as quickly as you can. So if you're interested in the script, just email me, ask me for the script. I'll be happy to send it back. The script is free. If you're interested in a bunch of ways that I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're interested in the course, go to howtoflipnewyork.com/course. If you're interested in coaching, go to coaching.howtoflipnewyork.com. I hope this was helpful. I really appreciate you watching. Please, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. And if you are watching on Facebook or YouTube, please give me a thumbs up. The likes really help me. And you can comment below. Any comments I'll answer right away. There are no bad questions. If it's a simple question, I'll just respond with an answer. If it's a question about a topic, I might send you a link to a video. And if you ask me a question that I maybe haven't covered in a while, I might do a video on it too. So thank you very, very much for watching.